On my worst day, I'm a pessimist, but on my best, I'm a realist. I am never, ever, ever, ever an optimist. I mean, everything is a spectrum, and I don't want to say like optimists are delusional. Good morning, KiNGPiNs. Welcome back to another episode of VLOGMAS. So stupid. As y'all can see, I'm in the car. Yeah, I'm in the car. I'm in the car just chilling. Like, I literally came in the car just to escape the house. No, I mean, yeah, I don't want to be in the house anymore, but it's cold. It's cold and rainy, and I wanted to go for a walk. I just needed some fresh air. You know, during this time of year, I can introvert with the best of them. Like, I will not leave the house, y'all. It'll be weeks on end, and I would have not left the house. I got my latte, or Bae actually got me this latte. She had to run out for work earlier, and she brought me back my coffee, which, it's the little things, man. When it's this cold and rainy, I will reach for every excuse not to leave that doorstep. There was a huge storm last night. Like, it was pouring raining last night, and then it was all nice and fresh and crisp this morning. So I'm like, let me go for a walk. The moment I put Bae's big ass jacket on, and I got sweats underneath this and then a layer of tights, like, it's cold. And then it started raining, and I'm like, how am I gonna hold this camera and my coffee and an umbrella? Because I'm not. So I was like, fuck it. I was going to go on the balcony and read to you guys, because yes, we brought her. We are definitely going to finish this first chapter. God. Real quick update on Mom's. She actually got discharged yesterday. So I am so happy that she's home now and comfortable and healing and just relaxing in her own space. She had a great dinner. She got a real hearty dinner. Got her a chocolate milkshake and everything. And she knocked the fuck out. So she woke up in good spirits. Her arm is, you know, slowly but surely getting better in terms of like the bruising and the swelling. And I'm like a hawk over her. I'm just like, you can't do nothing. Don't say nothing. Don't go. No, you can't do nothing without my eyes on you, period. You got to go to the bathroom. You better holla. It's Nurse Ray on duty, because I ain't having it. Like, I'm so scared she's going to fall, or like just something. Very much something is going to happen, and I'm just not here for that. We're not doing anything today. Like, today's one of those slow, rainy days. Bae's off work. We're just kind of like chilling around. My mom fell right after we picked up the Christmas decorations, so those have been sitting on the balcony and we've done nothing. We usually put our Christmas decorations up right after Thanksgiving. Like, we are super late this year, but that's fine, because I literally will leave my Christmas decorations up like all through January, and they don't come down till like the first week of February, so it is what it is. Anyway, I turned the car on and backed it in so that I can have some light, because the other way was so dark. I can't believe I'm doing all this just to vlog. We gonna sit here in the car and I'm gonna read to y'all asses. That's what I'm gonna do, because I am determined to get through this goddamn book. And I feel like I'm not reading it consistently every day, so I'm not getting far. And we left off on page 19, so I'm like, bitch, you gotta read this book every day, otherwise what are we doing? First of all, yeah, let me hurry up and start reading to y'all, because I'm drinking coffee, and we know what that coffee do. Let's get you reading. All right, yeah. Atomic Habits, page 19. Your habits can compound for you or against you. This is where we left off. There's a chart. Can y'all see? Ooh, I got that track on. It's tracking my face. Look at the book. So, productivity compounds. Accomplishing one extra task is a small feat on any given day, but it counts for a lot over an entire career. The effect of automating an old task or mastering a new skill can be even greater. The more tasks you can handle without thinking, the more your brain is free to focus on other areas. Very true. That was a positive compound. Knowledge compounds. Learning a new idea won't make you a genius. Of course. But a commitment to lifelong learning can be transformative. Furthermore, each book you read not only teaches you something new, but also opens up different ways of thinking about old ideas. As Warren Buffett says, that's how knowledge works. It builds up like compound interest. Relationships compound. People reflect your behavior back to you. Yes, they do. The more you help others, the more others want to help you. Being a little bit nicer in each interaction can result in a network of broad and strong connections over time. That part actually resonates a little bit. When it says being a little bit nicer in each interaction can result in a network of broad and strong connections over time. It's not that I'm mean. I'm not mean. I'm not mean, but I have been given feedback by people that know me, people that, you know, are in my very small inner circle, that I can be a little harsh, a little abrasive in my delivery of things. And it's a personality trait that I developed throughout life. I mean, I can make assumptions as to why, but I'm one of those people, very blunt, very straight to the point, no nonsense type of chick. I read somewhere once that a message without empathy is just cruelty. And that hit hard. And I'm less likely to show empathy when I think someone isn't listening. So when I communicate harshly, it's because I'm trying to get you to listen. If we're engaging in a conversation and it seems like I'm being cruel, just call me out. That was it for the positive compounding. Negative compounding. Stress compounds. The frustration of a traffic jam, the weight of parenting responsibilities, the worry of making ends meet, the strain of slightly high blood pressure. By themselves, these common causes of stress are manageable. But when they persist for years, the little stresses compound into serious health issues. Yes, they do. Negative thoughts compound. Ooh, those intrusive thoughts. My intrusive thoughts will talk me out of my best ideas, my ambition, and that also stems from experiences that I had growing up. So not believing in myself. Negative thoughts. Anyway, I'm eager to see what this says. The more you think of yourself as worthless, girl, let's get there. The more you think of yourself as worthless, stupid, or ugly, the more you condition yourself to interpret life that way. You get trapped in a thought loop. The same is true for how you think about others. Once you fall into the habit of seeing people as angry, unjust, or selfish, you see those kind of people everywhere. Oh, that is so true. On my worst day, I'm a pessimist, but on my best, I'm a realist. I am never, ever an optimist. I don't know. I mean, everything is a spectrum, and I don't want to say like optimists are delusional. Outrage compounds. Riots, protests, and mass movements are rarely the result of a single event. Instead, a long series of microaggressions and daily aggravations slowly multiplying until one event tips the scales and outrage spreads like wildfire. Very true. All right. What progress is really like? Page 20. Girl, this gonna take. Let me just try to read. I'm going to just try to read through and not stop and talk about it. But it's what I'm thinking in my head. I verbally vomit at you guys while I'm reading it. And that's just going to take too goddamn long. So let's go. What progress is really like. Imagine that you have an ice cube sitting on the table in front of you. The room is cold and you can see your breath. It is currently 25 degrees. Ever so slowly, the room begins to heat up. 26 degrees, 27, 28. The ice cube is sitting on the table in front of you. 29 degrees, 30, 31. Still nothing has happened. Then 32 degrees. The ice begins to melt. A 1 degree shift, seemingly no different from the temperature increases before it, has unlocked a huge change. Breakthrough moments are often the result of many previous actions, which build up the potential required to unleash a major change. This pattern shows up everywhere. Cancer spends 80% of its life undetectable, then takes over the body in months. Bamboo can barely be seen for the first 5 years as it builds extensive root systems under ground before exploding 90 feet into the air within 6 weeks. Oh, interesting. Similarly, habits often appear to make no difference until you cross a critical threshold and unlock a new level of performance. In the early and middle stages of any quest, there's often a valley of disappointment. You expect to make progress in a linear fashion, and it's frustrating how ineffective changes can seem during the first days, weeks, and even months. For sure. It doesn't feel like you are going anywhere. It's a hallmark of any compounding process. The most powerful outcomes are delayed. This is one of the core reasons why it is so hard to build habits that last. People make few small changes, fail to see a tangible result, and decide to stop. You think, I've been running every day for a month, so why can't I see any change in my body? Once this kind of thinking takes over, it's easy to let good habits fall by the wayside. But in order to make a meaningful difference, habits need to persist long enough to break through this plateau, what I call the plateau of latent potential. If you find yourself struggling to build a good habit, or break a bad one, it is not because you have lost your ability to improve. It is often because you have not yet crossed the plateau of latent potential. Complaining about not achieving success despite working hard is like complaining about an ice cube not melting when you heated it from 25 to 31 degrees. Nice analogy. Your work was not wasted. It is just being stored. All the action happens at 32 degrees. When you finally break through the plateau of latent potential, people will call it an overnight success. Negative. The outside world only sees the most dramatic event rather than all that preceded it. Yeah, but you know that it's the work you did long ago when it seemed that you weren't making any progress that makes the jump today possible. Yes. It is the human equivalent of geological pressure. Yeah, that makes sense. Two tectonic plates can grind against one another for millions of years, the tension slowly building all the while. Then one day they rub each other once again in the same fashion they have for ages, but this time the tension is too great. An earthquake erupts. Change can take years before it happens all at once. Please let these words sink in. Let these words sink in. Mastery requires patience, something I have very little of. The San Antonio Spurs. Okay, here we go. The San Antonio Spurs, one of the most successful teams in NBA history, have a quote from social reformer Jacob Riz, hanging in their locker room. When nothing seems to help, I go and look at a stone cutter hammering away at his rock. Perhaps 100 times without as much as a crack showing in it. Yet at the 101st blow, it will split in two. And I know it was not that last blow that did it, but all that had gone before. All right, another graph, the plateau of latent potential. Here we go. Yes. All right. So it's giving you the illustration of what you think should happen versus what actually happens, and then the time it takes. And the in-between is the valley of disappointment is how it's illustrating it. That's hilarious. Figure 2, we often expect progress to be linear. At the very least, we hope it will come quickly. In reality, the results of our efforts are often delayed. It is not until months or years later that we realize the true value of the previous work we have done. This can result in the valley of disappointment. That is so funny. Where people feel discouraged after putting in weeks or months of hard work without experiencing any results. However, this work was not wasted. It was simply being stored. It is not until much later that the full value of previous efforts is revealed. Which is so true. But what determines whether we stick with the habit long enough to survive the plateau of latent potential and break through to the other side? What is it that causes some people to slide into unwanted habits and enables others to enjoy the compounding effects of good ones? Good question. Forget about goals, focus on systems instead. Prevailing wisdom claims that the best way to achieve what we want in life, getting into better shape, building a successful business, relaxing more and worrying less, spending more time with friends and family, is to set specific actionable goals. For many years, this was how I approached my habits too. Each one was a goal to be reached. I set for the grades I wanted to get in school for the weights I wanted to lift in the gym, for the profits I wanted to earn in business. I succeeded at a few, but I failed at a lot of them. Eventually, I began to realize that my results had very little to do with the goals that I set, and nearly everything to do with the systems I followed. What's the difference between systems and goals? It's a distinction I first learned from Scott Adams, the cartoonist behind the Dilbert comic. I have no idea. Goals are about the results you want to achieve. Systems are about the processes that lead to those results. Yes, of course. If you're a coach, your goal might be to win a championship. Your system is the way you recruit players, manage or assist coaches, and conduct practice. If you're an entrepreneur, your goal might be to build $1 million business. Your system is how you test product ideas, hire employees, and run marketing campaigns. If you're a musician, your goal might be to play a new piece. Your system is how often you practice, how you break down and tackle different measures, and your method of receiving feedback from your instructor. Now, for the interesting question, if you completely ignore your goals and focus only on your systems, would you still succeed? For example, if you were a basketball coach and you ignored your goal to win a championship and focused only on what your team does at practice each day, would you still get results? I think you would. I do too. What about y'all, KiNGPiNs? Because I think the systems, the processes that you put in place to achieve those goals are what actually make it happen. So agreed. The goal in any sport is to finish with the best score, but it would be ridiculous to spend the whole game staring at the scoreboard. The only way to actually win is to get better each day. In the words of 3-time Super Bowl winner Bill Walsh, the score takes care of itself. The same is true for other areas in your life. If you want better results, then forget about setting goals. Focus on your system instead. And of course, the systems are the hardest part. What do I mean by this? Are goals completely useless? Of course not. Goals are good for setting a direction, but systems are best for making progress. A handful of problems arise when you spend too much time thinking about your goals and not enough time designing your systems. Oh, that's so me. I'd be like, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to go here, I want to... How you gonna get there, bitch? Problem 1, winners and losers have the same goals. Okay. Goal setting suffers from a serious case of survivorship bias. Goal setting suffers from a serious case of survivorship bias. Just had to read that again. We concentrate on the people who end up winning, the survivors, and mistakenly assume that ambitious goals led to their success while overlooking all of the people who had the same objective but didn't succeed. Every Olympian wants to win a gold medal. Every candidate wants to get the job. And if successful and unsuccessful people share the same goals, then the goal cannot be what differentiates the winners from the losers. Agreed. It wasn't the goal of winning the Tour de France that propelled the British cyclists to the top of the sport. Presumably, they had wanted to win the race every year before, just like every other professional team. The goal had always been there. It was only when they implemented a system of continuous small improvements that they achieved a different outcome. Problem 2, achieving a goal is only a momentary change. Imagine you have a messy room and you set a goal to clean it. If you summon the energy to tidy up, then you will have a clean room for now. But if you maintain that same sloppy pack rat habits, I cannot. This is something I cannot identify with because I am very clean and organized. That is just how it has to be. But if you maintain the same sloppy pack rat habits that led to a messy room in the first place, soon you'll be looking at a new pile of clutter and hoping for another burst of motivation. Boy, me and Tia get into this all the time. But I can actually apply this. I can actually apply this to me too. I'm always searching for a burst of motivation to achieve the goals that I set, that I didn't put a system in place for. So I can completely relate in another way. You're left chasing the same outcome because you never changed the system behind it. You treated a symptom without addressing the cause. Achieving a goal only changes your life for the moment. That's the counterintuitive thing. That's the counterintuitive thing about improvement. We think we need to change our results, but the results are not the problem. What we really need to change are the systems that cause those results. When you solve problems at the result level, you only solve them temporarily. In order to improve for good, you need to solve problems at the systems level. Fix the inputs and the outputs will fix themselves. Yes. Like waking up early. I told you guys I love, staying up late. I also love getting up early. It's just easier for me to stay up late than it is to get up early. And I feel like I would be much more successful in my daily endeavors if I just got the fuck up early, which requires me to go to bed on time. And that's the system he's talking about. Anyway, problem 3, goals restrict your happiness. The implicit assumption behind any goal is this: once I reach my goal, then I'll be happy. Girl. That's so me. The problem with a goals first mentality is that you are continually putting happiness off until the next milestone. I swear I don't do this intentionally. It's my brain. I've slipped into this trap so many times I've lost count. For years, happiness was always something for my future self to enjoy. I promised myself that once I gained 20 pounds of muscle, or after my business was featured in the New York Times, then I could finally relax. Furthermore, goals create an either-or conflict. Either you achieve your goal and are successful, or you fail and you are disappointed. You mentally box yourself into a narrow version of happiness. This is misguided. It is unlikely that your actual path through life will match the exact journey you had in mind when you set out. It makes no sense to restrict your satisfaction to one scenario when there are many paths to success. Okay, a systems first mentality provides the antidote. When you fall in love with the process rather than the product, you don't have to wait to give yourself permission to be happy. Yes, okay, I received that. You can be satisfied anytime your system is running. Yes, because when I am in that way, my daily habits are on point, like what I set out to do, my discipline to do it. When I am like on point, I feel it. That happiness of feeling like you're accomplishing, like a sense of accomplishment, even if it's just making the bed and getting up on time and going about my daily chores and my work. Like, I just feel so happy, so happy. You can be satisfied anytime your system is running. And a system can be successful in many different forms, not just the one you first envision. Correct. Problem 4, goals are at odds with long-term progress. Got it. Finally, a goal-oriented mindset can create a yo-yo effect. Many runners work hard for months, but as soon as they cross the finish line, they stop training. The race is no longer there to motivate them. When all of your hard work is focused on a particular goal, what is left to push you forward after you achieve it? This is why many people find themselves reverting to their old habits after accomplishing a goal. The purpose of setting goals is to win the game. The purpose of building systems is to continue playing the game. True long-term thinking is goal-less thinking. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. It's not about any single accomplishment. It is about the cycle of endless refinement and continuous improvement. Ultimately, it is your commitment to the process that will determine your progress. I swear he's finding 1,000 ways to say the same thing over and over, and so it permeates in your brain. And I hope it works, sir. I hope it works. This is going to be a slow read. Let me just set that expectation now. This is going to be a slow read. Yeah, the fundamentals. And we're still in that bitch. We're still in the fundamentals. A system of atomic habits. If you're having trouble changing your habits, the problem isn't you. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Y'all hear that? The problem is not me. Thank you for that reassurance, Mr. Clear. Thank you so much. Okay, so the problem is your system. You're the one that builds your system. The problem is me. Anyway, so bad habits repeat themselves again and again, not because you don't want to change, but because you have the wrong system for change. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Yeah. Say it again. Focusing on the overall system rather than a single goal is one of the core themes of this book. Focusing on the overall system rather than a single goal is one of the core themes of this book. It is also one of the deeper meanings behind the word atomic. By now, you've probably realized that an atomic habit refers to a tiny change, a marginal gain, a 1% improvement. But atomic habits are not just any old habits, however small. They are little habits that are part of a larger system. Just as atoms are the building blocks of molecules, atomic habits are the building blocks of remarkable results. I like that. Habits are like the atoms of our lives. Each one is a fundamental unit that contributes to your overall improvement. At first, these tiny routines seem insignificant, but soon they build on each other and fuel bigger wins that multiply to a degree that far outweighs the cost of their initial investment. They are both small and mighty. This is the meaning of the phrase atomic habits, a regular practice or routine that is not only small and easy to do, but also the source of incredible power, component of the system of compound growth. I must say, I really like this book. I really do. It's not disappointing in terms of what I've heard. All right, so we have read a good 10 pages, and seeming as how I'm an hour in, I'm going to stop there because I actually want to edit and post this today because I did not capture footage yesterday or today because of my poor ass systems. Fuck. There's a whole bunch of illustrations, and it seems like there's a lot that's going to be said here. So I'm gonna just leave this for the next time, guys, and we're gonna stop there. We are on page 30. So we have made a very small marginal improvement. We put a little bit of a dent, you know, so we're making progress. I'm gonna get back upstairs, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna break out the Christmas decor and get started on that. I will see you on tomorrow's Vlogmas. Happy Thursday. Happy day 12. Love you guys. Bye.
Let's have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.